For more on the recount and the battle over the ballots in Florida, the demonstrators on both sides now protesting in Broward. And questions over the process, let's bring in our panel. Antjuan Seawright, Democratic strategist, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton in South Carolina. He's also the founder and CEO of Blueprint Strategy. And Alana Roethle, GOP strategist and secretary of the Kansas Republican Party. Welcome to you both. Antjuan, let me start with you. Your reaction to the fact that there now will be a recount?
Well, Florida is doing what Florida always does, and that's make America wait again. But I'm so thankful that there is a recount, because what's most important is that Americans feel good about the vote they cast. They feel good about the most sacred thing we have in our democracy, and that is our vote. And it needs to be counted, and the election should be fair, and the process should be fair. So I'm willing to wait this out until we see what the end is going to be. But also, after this is over, I think it's so important that boys and girls, Democrats and Republicans, get together and figure out how we not let this happen again, because American citizens should not have to sit on the edge of their seat to determine how election went after they've cast their vote.
Alana, I mean, we've had the long lines in many places throughout the country. Now you have the long wait. What is your reaction to this recount? Do you think it'll be credible?
You know, I agree with a lot of what Antjuan said, and I think, you know, when you have 4 days after an election, you're still counting the votes. I mean, this is ridiculous. As a graduate of a Broward County high school and Florida State University, I want to see all the votes counted in Florida. Absolutely. We need to have a good process here, but I want to see those be legitimate votes. The fact that we're going in and changing things and finding things and validating questionable ballots 4 days later, that's just not acceptable.
Well, when you say finding things, what do you specifically mean by that? Because this is part of the credible process of counting. I mean, are they finding, you know, bags of votes in a closet someplace?
Well, we're hearing of like 204 votes that came in afterwards that were setting aside, those are questionable ones. The 20 votes that they claimed were invalid after the fact. You know, this is not unusual for Broward County.
Elena.
In 2000, I also lived in Tallahassee, and this seems like deja vu. I mean, we had this same problem in 2000. The fact that we're still dealing with this 18 years later, this is a little bit embarrassing for America.
Antjuan, your reaction to
But I think the most dangerous thing anyone could do is make assumptions. All we keep hearing from the right and even from some in the right-wing media say we heard or this is what we understand. I think we have to let this process play out and not assume what we do not know. I think it's so important that we deal only in fact, because this should not be a partisan issue. It should not be something that the right will take and use as a talking point or a red meat object to throw at their base to question the integrity of this election, regardless of how it plays out. I think we have to chill out with the whole assumptions of this is what we heard or this is what we may have read or saw on social media, but wait until the process plays itself out. I think that's so important.
Well, the authorities have said that there's no evidence of voter fraud, despite the claims by the president and others about that. Here's the statement. We saw one that in the news conference within the last hour and a half, and where they said there's no evidence of all this. This is what they said yesterday. Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They said the FDLE communicated with the Department of State, and they indicated at the time that they have no allegations of fraud. We offered our assistance in the event that any criminal allegations are identified and will remain in contact with them. So, Alana, I mean, do you have faith that this, at the end, the process will be done correctly, legally, and fairly?
Well, I certainly hope so. You know, I think all of us would like to be more united across the country. And if it's not, it's proven that it's not, I think it will cause further division. But I mean, I don't have a great amount of faith because, like I said, being a resident for Florida for so many years, this happens frequently, and it always happens there in Broward. So, you know, I like to be hopeful. I would like to feel that everything is going to come out right, and I'm very hopeful, and I pray that it will. But I can't say I have a 100% confidence in that.
And finally,
well,
Alana,
you should, Alana, because we just heard from Florida officials to saying there's no evidence of voter fraud that we've seen or they've detected. I am quite certain in this environment, if anything, if there was a slight bit of wrongdoing in any way, we would have heard it by now from the president on down to dog catchers in Florida about wrongdoing, because it would have been blamed on the Democrats.
Well, Alana, you know,
well, let's let that process play out, just like you said, Antjuan.
Absolutely.
Final word. I mean, there are people are criticizing Brenda Snipes. I mean, looking at her record, they destroyed absentee ballots in 2004. They lost them. I mean, lost absentee ballots, destroyed in 2016, and she said that was a mistake. Do you have faith in her stewardship of what is going on now? Because there have been a lot of questions aimed at her.
I have complete faith.
Yeah, Antjuan, go ahead, and then I'll have Alana answer.
I'm sorry. I have complete faith in the process. I have complete faith in her because, again, if there was any ounce of wrongdoing, we would have heard it by now. And I think the officials are watching this process very closely, and they would have intervened very quickly had there been any notion or idea of any wrongdoing.
Alana, last word.
You know, again, I would have to say that there has been a lack of transparency in this process. And again, I'm not 100% sure we're going to have the outcome that is completely fair and honest.
All right, we'll see when that outcome comes. And certainly all eyes are on Florida yet again. Hopefully no hanging chads. Remember those after we went through that in 2000? But we'll see. The recount is on, has been ordered.
Don't remind us.
We'll see. I know. We'll see how this goes. Thank you both for this afternoon.
Thank you. Thanks so much.